Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we've got 3 back-to-back tournaments for Dragon. We've seen one already launch. We've got a second one due to launch in 2 days' time. There will be a third one following that. What are they then? They're this kind of new... I say they're new. They've tried this sort of stuff before. I prefer this type of version that they're doing right now compared to what they're doing in the arena. In the arena, they're saying, we're only going to let you use one faction. Don't like that very much. But the ones they're doing here are actually, for me, kind of fun. So they're saying only using champions from specific factions. And what we know, certainly in content creator chat we've been told this, I don't feel like they've shared this any wider, but the first tournament is going to be for the Corrupted. So champions in Demon Spawn, Undead, Dark Elves, or Night Revenants. That's tournament 1. The second, let's make sure I get this in the right order. The second tournament is going to be for the Talarians, Bannerlords, High Elves, Sacred Order, and Barbarians. And then the third one they drop is going to be for the Galen Pact, Ogryn Tribes, Lizardmen, Skinwalkers, and Orcs. So basically what you have to do is you have to pick your team from each of those factions on the different days. What I'm going to do in this video is just kind of walk through what I go through in my head when I'm thinking about team selection and try and give you some ideas for good squads. It's all about building teams. It's not about individual champions. Good squads from these different factions so that you can prepare yourself for the Dragon tournament, not just the one that's going on now, but the next one and the one after that. I would like to get your feedback as well down below, guys. Do you like this type of challenge, different type of tournament generally? So is it something that you find fun? Personally, I do actually. I quite enjoy it when they do specific groups of factions like this. Kind of gives that kind of faction group a meaning as well in the game. What I don't enjoy though is where they just get so lazy and copy paste the same crap rewards. Like, if you're going to make us work harder and try and push us some more, fine, don't mind that. But then give us something a bit better for the effort, in my opinion. So, 10 lousy gems. What are you going to get with 10 and 25 gems? The two added together are not even a refill. It just seems so freaking lazy with some of these tournament rewards. Do something better with this side when you're going to do one of these special tournaments. Let us buy into it by pushing the rewards up, is my view. Especially like if you're going to be giving out epic books here, great, good stuff. Maybe slip a rare book into this first phase. Rare book here, this is what I would do. Rare book here, maybe like 80 gems here. A 4-star chicken. Maybe we go then like a ancient shard, void shard, epic book, sacred shard, or legendary tome. That's what I would suggest to get people to buy into this stuff. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, do I fancy it or not? If I do, great. It's almost like if I'm doing Dragon anyway, perfect, I'll do it. If I'm not doing Dragon, I'm steering clear. So hopefully they heed some of these kind of bits of advice because it's just so dumb to see the same trashy mistakes all the time. So let's start with tournament 1 then. Now, when I'm building a Dragon team, what am I looking for? I want first name on the team sheet is someone who's going to do AoE decreased defense for me to soften up the enemy, make you hit them harder. The next thing that I want in my team is some AoE damage. The next thing I want in my team is some sort of control. Ideally, I have some sort of speed boost, and then I have some poison. Like, that's the 5 things that I'd be looking for in Dragon as like a steady team. When you look across this first faction for a decreased defense champs, basically slim pickings to no pickings. I'm not talking legendaries here, by the way, guys. I'm going to be talking epics and rares. Pretty slim pickings in terms of decreased defense. In this faction, you've got a little bit coming out of a lore for a weak source one, but nothing great. Undead Hordes, kind of similar actually. They really lack decreased defense champions. They've got great champions, don't get me wrong. You could pick a team just from this faction, no problem at all. But when you look through this, there's not a single, I don't think there's a single AoE decreased defense champion. I think the best we've got is Banshee, again, with a kind of weak source A1 here. So I don't think you're going to be looking there. Dark Elves, though, do have some really good champs. So Spider, positive affinity for level 20, and gives us decreased defense and weaken. Also gives us decreased attack. For me, out of all 4 factions, if I'm talking epics and rares, this guy's first on the team sheet. He's the first man in the camp. If you've got Madame can kind of sub in as a really good option for that as well. But again, not a whole lot in the rares that are going to fill that role. And then when we talk to Night Revenants, there's actually not a single one that does AoE decreased defense in rares or epics. So you have to go right up to legendary to get that type of support. So pretty slim pickings for the first and most important role in these factions, but you kind of need to look to the Dark Elves to find that solution. If you cannot find that solution, if you do not have those champions, you really need to either bring a single target decreased defense, so at least you've got that for the dragon, or just bring more control. If you can't drop defense, bring more control. So second name on the list, so second person on the list then is going to be about control. We've got an Umbral here. Absolutely fantastic. Who else have we got? We've got Anak, wrong affinity for 20, but again, very good champion. It's not too much else there. Anyone that's doing AoEs here, there are quite a few actually that can do AoE hits, like Infernal Baroness, like Nazana, like Diabolist, who can also be your speed champion. Any of those guys doing these regular AoE hits, you can put them in daze sets, taunt sets, stun sets, anything like that to just give yourself an option. Fellhound, really good option for that as well. So if you don't have like the standard controllers, bring some sets to do the control for you. Again, Undead, we've got Husk. Husk could be MVP for damage and control combined. Really good champion for this. Who else have we got here for control? Not really that much else in the epics that's going to give you a ton of control. This guy's got a single target provoke, nothing too much again. So you're kind of looking to Demon Spawn so far for most of your control champs. Dark Elves, again, we've got Luria, wrong affinity though, but she's got an AoE freeze, which is pretty good. Sylar, absolutely fantastic for AoE, drop turn meter and decrease accuracy to stop you taking a bunch of debuffs. So that could be really useful here. Who else have we got? Caden's got, not control so much, but he's got a single target provoke here, but he does bring AoE decrease attack, which can help you. Plus that revive is also pretty awesome. And then Night Revs. We've got Miscreated Monster can come in big with those stuns. Good champion here. And I think that's probably going to be about it. You've got, again, some like couple of AoE kind of provokes, and not AoE provokes, got a couple of provokes and stuff, but no kind of like really good control ones. So we move on to speed. Well, we've spoken about Diabolist already. Undead Horde brings a lot in terms of speed. You've got Gordrab, Seeker as two of the better ones in the game for this. Neutral Affinity, which is cool as well. So both of those can come in and kind of speed you up, or Diabolist just kind of does the job as well. So I think we get on to poison and damage. I'll do them together. Erinest can do a bit of poison for you. She can also extend the buffs that you're wearing, so and decrease buffs on enemies. Kind of good here, not bad here. You can get some turn meter fill from Anak and some damage. He's actually really cool, and positive affinity as well. And you can get things like good damage out of Fellhound. You can get some good damage out of some of the AoE champions. So, Hellgazer's weak affinity, but she hits really hard. Padma, AoE decrease accuracy, and she hits hard, so she could be pretty good to come in and do some work. If we go on to the next faction, I'll call out a few more. Massive damage spike from someone everyone should have, Dark Elhain, if you've logged in for a few days. We get some good kind of team protection and support from Morsian Mage, who should probably be in a lot of teams. He's got your block debuffs, he's got your cleanse as well. You've got your poison damage from the two sisters here, from the White Walkers, so they can come in and do that for you. Missed one. Dark Elves, if we're talking about, again, kind of poison and damage together. Caden actually does a decent chunk of damage. Sylar can do some good amounts of damage. Lua does some good damage. Kale can come in as your poisoner and damage dealer. Even through to endgame, he's still super cool. Put him in life steal set, give him the accuracy, and he'll do most of the damage to the main boss. Obviously, Coldheart can come in. She doesn't drop turn meter on that dragon, but she still slams it super hard. I didn't mention Husk again, but Husk for damage as well. Super good. And then quite a lot of damage dealers actually in the Night Revs. So Miscreated Monster can hit hard. Tenacia can. Skullcrown hits like a truck. You got people like Doom Priest that can come in as great support champions and support the team to get through it. And then you got kind of like a speed booster here in your Golden Reaper as well. So there's a lot of options actually in these 4 factions to be able to build a good dragon team. I guess what I'll do is I'll throw mine together now, show you mine, and then we'll go on to the next group. So team I'm going to run here then, we've got Diabolist, Speed, my Speed buffer, and she is in stun gear. I've got who else am I running? I'm running Spider for my decreased defense. Just in enough gear to get him some decent accuracy. Lots of defense to make sure he doesn't die. I've got Husk coming in. He's just in the gear that he was already in, but lifesteal gear. Good amount of crit damage to get his big hit off. Enough accuracy to land his stuns. I've got more stuns in Miscreated Monster. High health, high crit damage, good speed. And we're also going to be bringing in Diabolist, Frozen Banshee for our poison. So just in speed gear. So let's do this. Spider. I easily could be bringing in here Doom Priest for cleansing. Maybe actually Morsian Mage would just do better than Miscreated Monster in this setup. Just to cleanse when we get onto the actual dragon. So we've only really got 1 damage dealer in Husk and poison damage for the boss. We've got various people here with auras that work. I think that works for dungeons. Ally speed in all dungeons. Really good aura from Spider here. And we're just going to see this playing through. So we get buffs out. Not really anything going on there. 1 stun from our Diabolist and a bit more speed. We get the decreased defense out from Spider. Decreased attack out from Spider. And then Husk is kind of laying in some damage, and he's putting things like Provoke out on single target if it lands. So it's kind of like a rinse and repeat. We're expecting to keep, at least 1 or 2 people stunned up, another person provoked up, and the idea really is that the enemy don't get much of a turn. So stuns off again there, and really you would hope that if they get a turn, hopefully that person's provoked, or it's kind of like, we might take 1 hit which we can heal up. So that's the way this type of team rolls. I'm not looking for super speed here. I'm just looking to make sure I get to the dragon and have a 100% team. So we get onto phase 2. Again, we've got a bunch of protection coming out from our Morsian Mage. Bunch of stuns coming out from Husk. Absolutely huge there. Stun the whole team. And now we're just kind of picking them off. So I'll ping it through to dragon, and you'll see that part of the fight next. So we get onto dragon. Couple of minutes into the fight. We get decreased attack out. We get a nice 170k hit there from Husk with his big boy hit. And obviously the poisons now come in from our Frozen Banshee, laying out 4 poisons already. That's going to kill this this purple bar. And the purple bar is our kind of trouble point, really. We don't want to take all those stuns. So we will take a bunch of debuffs, but Morsian Mage here will be able to cleanse those off for us in a second. And really, as long as you get Morsian Mage and Frozen Banshee to this point, or Morsian Mage and Kale, whoever it's going to be, whoever your poisoner is, then you shouldn't lose. As long as they're in lifesteal gear, there's no way you should lose at this point, because the poison damage will do all you need it to do. So it's going to end up being like a 3-minute run, but 100% team, which is basically what you need. So there we go. That's team 1. Let's get on to the next factions. This might end up being a bit of a long video, guys, but I guess come back to the various points that you need for when you are in the next section. So we're going now Tournament 2, the Tolarians. We're going to go in the same type of feel. I'm just going to call out perhaps Pi faction, the best champions, and what part of the role they're going to fit. So if we're talking about Bannerlords here, Bannerlords have got one of the best decreased defense champions in the game, but he is weak affinity for Dragon 20 particularly. but can still come in. If he's your only decreased defense champion, he should still come in and do a job. We've got somebody in Yasmin that can clear off enemy buffs and keep your team healed, which is quite cool. Oathbond is actually a massive champion. Big hits. He's got decreased attack and he's got block cooldown skills. He's very, very underrated and can come in and do a ton of work for you here. I'll show you him off as we get through it. If you're lucky enough to have the Morna, she can be a revived champion and kind of protect your team, which is cool. Everyone's going to have Lordly Legionary, who is neutral affinity. He's not really got anything for this fight, so probably leave him out, to be honest. You've got AoE decreased defense in Dagger, which could be a good option for you as well if you don't have Stag Knight or someone like Tyrell. So she could come in and do some work. There's not much else here in terms of rares for Dragon that I would kind of say, should come into a team. But yeah, so basically best ones here, Stag Knight but wrong affinity. You've got Oathbond as one of my faves and Dagger for a good decreased defense option. In terms of High Elves are stacked with quality for this type of fight. So we've got big hitter, Royal Guard, neutral affinity, really big hitter. Decreased defense, probably the best decreased defense champion that we're going to get out of this group. So Tyrell comes in for that. You've got a good support champion in Thanassel, good support champion in Vergis. You've got your speed in Apothecary if you've got him. You've got a decent amount of damage in Elhain as well. Great cleanser and support champion in Reliquary Tender. You could easily just build a team out of High Elves. One of the best factions for this. If we go Sacred Order then, their epics are infinitely worse. So loads more epics, but pretty bad. You've got some good poison damage that can come out of Juliana. I hate to say it, but she can do a job here. You've got a bit of a speed champion in Frostbringer. Nothing else in the kit really makes sense here though, but it's not terrible. You've got a support champion in Hope that can give you some good shielding. She's not so bad nowadays. Cardinal is a bit of a resurrector plus some poison. Is not bad either here. Aethar actually can do chunky amounts of poison, so he could be really good here for you. We've got, who else we got down here? Solaris is it? No, Draconis, sorry. Who's got a good amount of shielding and support play. So good rare here. Good amount of damage for AoE damage and a weaken from Aethel's kind of nice. There's not much else I would call out here. Purgator's actually a big hitter, but just that's all he's got is damage. But he is quite fun if you build him in the right teams. If we look at not Sacred Order, if we look at the last one then, Barbarians got huge upgrades recently if you've got their champions. So we already had a War Maiden that can come in and do our decreased defense. Another good option, positive affinity here. If you build her in a stun set, she can just stun up a bunch of people at the same time, which is what I'll show you in my clip in a minute. Who else have we got here in rares? There's not much else in rares. Marked is good for a block debuff and a decreased defense single target if you need that. Increased defense on your team as well, which is pretty useful. We've got a speed champion in High Katoon, but obviously wrong affinity, but it's not necessarily the worst thing here. You could still bring her in. But yeah, new champion Armina has got decreased defense, AoE. Cool here. Will help you kind of get through stuff. Some of you might still be hanging on to Baroth that can be pretty useful. Jotun can do some big hits for you and has got HP burn. So he's not bad as a single target champ. If you're needing stuff like control, Aetor actually has kind of got some good provokes going on. And then you've got actually Sky Touch is a great support, healer, cleanser, all of that type of stuff. So I feel like this section has probably got some easier kind of call outs for teams. Let's pick a team now and I'll show you what they can do. Okay then, I figured I'd bring Juliana out for this because people know I hate her. I don't think mine does have masteries, fair enough. So yeah, I've got her in reflex gear because really I just want to cycle around to this poison as quickly as I can. She does have a couple of other things, and I just want to kind of fill a turn meter, cycle around to poison as often as we can. So we're going Juliana for my poisoner. I'm going to bring Apothecary in for speed, just in speed gear, like 230, 240 odd speed. We've got, who else is coming into this one? War Maiden coming in. She's in stun set for me. Good speed to get our decreased defense down nice and early. Enough accuracy to land it. We're going to be bringing in Draconis in a shield set to kind of protect my team basically. And then we're going to be bringing in Oathbond in a stun set as well with his AoE hits to get some damage out. A little bit of damage out, not a lot actually, because I don't have him in very good gear. But maybe if I just find some crit rate gloves, that would help us a bit. But yeah, mainly he's in there for more protection. So we don't necessarily have a good damage dealer again. Damage dealer is kind of like the one role I sacrifice the most if I'm struggling to find a team that can work. So I'm more about control and consistency than I am about ultimate damage. So let's just get all these guys on the starting blocks. What have I got? So that's not going to work, so just this one. So there we go. So it's pretty basic team actually, and kind of vulnerable, which is why we've got 2 people in stun sets to hopefully give us a bit more control. So we speed up, we get a decreased defense out, didn't land any stuns, got 2 stuns off there with our decreased attack. So decreased attack means, you know what, if we're going to take a hit, let's at least try and ride the hit. So there we go again, another AoE hit off. He's got 3 people locked out for their main abilities, plus he landed a bunch of stuns as well. You can see the value of stun sets, guys. On both of the teams I've showed so far, stun sets are what are keeping us in this fight. So far we've taken no hits. No hits against a team when really, I mean, you've seen the gear I'm wearing, it's average at best. So I'll get us through to the dragon part of the fight. It's going to keep going like this right the way through. We'll get through to the dragon and then you can see what happens there. So again, our team have done their job. They got us through to the dragon. What we got now, we've got decreased defense out there. We've got decreased attack out there. So dragon takes more damage. I take less damage. And then we're reliant on Meduliana to lay some poisons on this dragon. But quite frankly, she is bad at it compared to a lot. War Maiden also brings some poison. You see we've got a decreased cooldown there from my reflex set on Juliana to try and get back to that poison ability quicker. You want to build your Juliana with 100% crit rate. I think mine's got like 90 something %. So I'm not landing all of the poison that I should be. That's just a poor build from me. Nothing more than that. There she goes again. This time we got a couple off. And it's going to be slow and steady, but slow and steady wins the race. In terms of kind of protecting my guys, we've got the shields coming here. So at least when we're taking this hit, we're kind of re-shielding ourselves. We had the shield set in the first place as well, just to kind of keep us in the early game. And Apothecary will throw out heals as well. You know, decreased attack, decreased defense means that we're not taking as much damage. And it should just be, as I say, a slow and steady, finish it off, 100% team. Really important. 100% teams is what you need here. So again, another couple of poisons from Majules. She's average at best. Aethar would do a better job than her. I don't have a level 60 Aethar. I've got a 50 Aethar that could actually come in if he was geared similarly and would actually do the same job. As long as you protect him to get him to the boss. Draconis here could be a 50, easy enough. Oathbond could be a 50 here as well. Honestly, wouldn't matter. Wouldn't make any difference to this run, really, because they're not really doing any damage. But you see that, a no-damage team, and we've come in at 3 minutes 30. So that's set 2 done. Let's look at the final set. If you're still with me, good effort. Galen Pact is going to be the third set. So we're going to go through the same type of view of the teams. Who could come in? So in terms of epics for the Oghren tribes, we've got a great decreased defense champion now in Udo. If you've got a Uglo. She could come in and do a decent amount of work for you if you've got her and built her already. We've got Shatterbones, who is awesome at turn meter control for the waves. Really, really strong champion here. Gaelic's the wrong affinity. I'm probably going to bring him in anyway. So I recently built him and he absolutely cracks people over the head. Similarly, if you've got an Oghren Jailer, this guy, he's single target, but he smacks so freaking hard. It's insane. This guy smacks incredibly hard. Bellower will come in and do a weak source decreased defense. We can get him in a stun set. He is not letting the enemy have a turn. Gear Grinder is actually going to be a pretty useful reviver, healer, support champion here. So he could come in and do some work for you as well. But I kind of... and then I guess Man-Eater is someone I should call out as well. If you've got a Man-Eater, if you're lucky enough to unkillable, block debuffs, steal some turn meter off the mobs in the waves, and decrease attack, he's actually good here as well. Is there somewhere where this guy's not awesome? In terms of Lizardman then, I really like Aox. He is going to have some poison for you. He's going to have some healing for you. And he's got a decreased attack AoE, decreased crit rate, and some turn meter AoE. This guy is a beast. Absolutely should be like one of the first on the team sheet if you've got him. There's not that much in the rares to call out here. Haruspex is good. That's probably about it. Haruspex has got some turn meter for you. He's got a revive. He's got a bit of a poison. So he's okay. But yeah, not much else to call out. I guess you could call out Basilisk as just a straight damage dealer. It does have a single target stun. Not a bad hitter. Skinwalkers then. We've got a lot of poison in Taurus. He's pretty good. A lot of poison in Yaga. Good. Still Skull got poison as well, but wrong affinity. You've got a AoE decreased defense in Fleshmonger. It's only a 75% chance to land, but it's really good. You've got awesome crowd control in Nullhorn. One of the best. Even as the wrong affinity, bring him in. He's going to do a load of work. Similarly with Greybeard. He's got tons of crowd control, so really good. I guess you could look to someone like Ursine Ironhide for your AoE decreased attack. He also does a decent amount of damage, so he's not bad here. Basher is also super cool. AoE hits, locking out your opponents. So he's actually pretty top tier here as well. And then we've got Orcs. Orcs actually come with a bunch of good champions. Really good champs. AoE decreased defense in Zargala, positive affinity. AoE decreased defense in Juk, neutral affinity. So those two, again, could be easily in this team. Two-hack smacks hard. Really hard. Puts AoE decreased speed out there. Most of the rest of his skill doesn't really influence Dragon, but just hits so damn hard. You've got AoE random hits, decreased defense if you're struggling for one in Gaelic as the starter champ, who's pretty good. Don't think there's much else I would bring in terms of rares here unless you had to. There's not a lot that kind of fits into this setup. And then in terms of other champs, if you've got one built out already, Gaelic's there, can do some good damage. Ultimate Gaelic can do some good damage. Even though she's negative affinity, Sandlash can do some good damage as well. Anna's got Provoke. And you've got people like Seer. I mean, if you've got a Seer, Seer's probably like first on the team sheet actually just for the sheer damage output, as long as you pair her with people with buffs. So I think this section, again, lots of options. Just depends who you've got in terms of how you're going to build your team. I'll build a team out myself, and yeah, we'll see what we can do.